Welcome back to Hannity. Nationwide demonstrations erupted over the weekend in the wake of the Michael Brown and Eric Garner grand jury decisions. And left-wing NBC News host Reverend Al Sharpton, he led a march at our nation's capital. We sent the Hannity crew, along with Fox News contributor David Webb, down to D.C. to see who's really involved in this protest. Take a look. Here's what he found.
No shoot!
What about black-on-black crime, where more blacks commit more of the murders against blacks?
Well, that is true, but there's no such thing as black-on-black crime. There's white-on-black crime, and it's the people who's supposed to be defending us, which they call themselves the police. The white man is a supremacist. We will never get our rights until we stand up. No justice, no peace.
We can actually get rid of this very system that is responsible for all of these police murders and all the exploitation and oppression here and around the world.
What do you want to replace it with?
We want to replace it with communism.
They're killing black kids all over this country, and we're tired of it. And we're trying to make a revolution to get rid of this system that counts black lives as nothing.
Does the community have a responsibility to do something about the crime itself?
I think that's what the police should be for, but they can't be trusted amongst the community, so it's really kind of the police's fault. 3
black teens beat a white woman 20 miles outside of Ferguson 4 days ago, leave her lying there for passersby. They classify as a race crime. How do you react to that?
I classify that as unfair because men do that to black women all the time.
My principles prevent me from watching Fox News.
So how can you comment on Fox News if you don't watch it?
Because I hear what Fox is reporting by reporters.
You just said it. Am I a token?
Most likely, yes.
Crime happens in communities where there's similarities, right? So white folks kill white folks, black folks kill black folks, right? But I think when we look at something like this that's related to police brutality, I don't necessarily see those as two things that can be compared.
And joining us now with reaction, editor-in-chief of Global Grind, Michael Skolnick is with us, as well as Fox News contributor David Webb. David, thanks so much for this report. Sad, though, in a lot of ways. The white man and this, and you got called a token. You brought up an example about a white woman, in that case, beaten up by 3 people.
Dynamic.
Nobody wants to hear about that.
No, and then actually that crime was immediately classified by Chief Dotson in St. Louis as a race crime based on the statements made by the 3 black teenagers as they beat a white woman. The problem here is that, Sean, you and I have talked about this, the people that actually have real concerns, we can debate on Mike Brown, Eric Garner, they're the ones not being represented. This is what I saw in Raleigh earlier this year. This is the institutional left, the International Socialist Organization, SEIU, the communists.
What was the communist answer? What was that? Where did that come from?
Let me tell you, they're out there proudly with their banners, lots of them. By the way, they're handing out their papers and soliciting donations, which I find funny because you're communists. Yeah. What's not funny is we're not having a debate over issues in communities. I ask people about, fixing problems within the community. If you don't have crime, if you lower crime, you have less interaction with cops. You don't get that answer.
No. Your reaction?
I marched in New York. This weekend. I marched with my 1.5-year-old child, who's not a communist.
Why did you march?
I marched because I think that we need a better system in this country in terms of policing, in terms of justice system. I think we can always do better. I'm certainly pro-cop. I believe in police. I believe that police do.
So if you marched in New York, we're going to play in our next segment. Yeah. And there was a huge chant going out. What do we want? Dead cops. Yeah. When do we want it now? Did you hear that?
No.
Okay. Huge. I'll play in the next segment. Sure. Huge chant. Yeah. That was at the very protest you were attending.
Despicable.
It is despicable.
Of course. And certainly any violence, we march peace. I brought my child with me. I would not want to bring my child to a march that would have violence or people saying things like that to promote violence.
You see, can you give me, and I've asked every person that looks at these 2 examples and say that this has jump-started the conversation, can you give me any evidence that either in the Eric Garner case or the Michael Brown case, any evidence of that this is racial in any way?
I certainly am not here to say that, right? What I'm here to say is that...
I have not seen it, and nor has anyone presented it to me, but people are using this to be a racial incident.
Well, I think what we haven't seen is, you talk about evidence, we haven't seen a trial. So we've argued OJ, we've argued Rodney King, we've argued Casey Anthony, we've argued a lot of trials. Now we're arguing a grand jury process?
No, we're not actually arguing a grand jury process. Let's forget that for a moment. We have an interaction between a cop and a criminal. They wrestle for a gun. At that point, the police officer is not thinking, are you black, are you white, are you Hispanic, are you woman?
How do you know all this?
Because we can cite example after
what
example.
Okay. What trial evidence do you have to say this happened?
They released the evidence.
Not all the evidence.
Excuse me. No, they released the evidence at the grand jury.
Some of it. In New York, we have no evidence.
And I think they should release it all.
They released the evidence in the case of Michael Brown because the grand jury, given 5 levels of charges, could not come up with anyone. They could not come up with one charge.
By the way, that's a much lower standard in terms of charging that the grand jury has.
Sure.
Than beyond a reasonable doubt. So if you can't get a charge, you're not going to get a conviction.
In 2010, in the federal courts, we had 160,000 people before a grand jury. 11 people didn't get indicted. Anyone can get indicted. In New York City, we have 179 police officers who have killed somebody.
You're going to question the integrity of the grand jury?
The grand jury system doesn't work. It's the only place in the world. Hold on. It's the only place in the world that uses it.
In the Michael Brown case, they had witness after witness, many of them black eyewitnesses, that said that he struggled for the cop's gun and ran at the police officer.
But 16 witnesses says he didn't. There's no dispute.
You know what that's called? Reasonable doubt.
It's called to go to trial and let a jury judge.
That's called reasonable doubt.
You also have evidence in this case. You have both the GSR, the gunshot residue, blood spatter evidence, the angle of the bullets. All of this adds together into a totality
that corroborated the story of those that gave
But Sean, now we're in a place we're going to argue grand jury deliberations.
Grand jury processes work. The grand jury process, they see evidence, they ask questions. They came up with their determination.
But cops show that
you weren't in there.
Of course, either were you.
Well, but I'm saying I've read the evidence.
And Eric Garner, we haven't seen anything.
I think they should release it.
So do I. So we agree on that.
I don't think they ever should have been near Eric Gardner.
But the
this idea of going after somebody for
we agree on that. But the whole grand jury process in New York is secret. It's secret.
I said reveal it.
It might work in Missouri.
Open it up. Open it up.
We agree.
All right, I got a break. Thank you both. Thank you so much for going down there. Appreciate it.